Hey you guys, and welcome back to the Tempest Productions, and tonight I will be giving you my review for the film Growing Up Smith, which is pretty much an indie film which is about an Indian family that moves to America and basically lives their version of the American dream. Here's my review. So, the film stars Jason Lee, Anjul Nigam, Brandon Charbino from The Walking Dead, Rania Karate, and Austin Heron. Now, I'm probably saying some of those names wrong, guys, but I should know this because I myself actually got an exclusive look at this film tonight. It's coming out tomorrow, Friday, I think the 3rd. So it's coming out February the 3rd, and I saw it at a special screening tonight, February the 2nd, where I actually got to meet Anjul Nigam, which he is the producer and writer and actor in the film. I also got to meet Rania Karate, who plays as Smith in the film, and I got to meet Austin Heron, who was the guy taking the picture, which was actually really awkward. So sorry if you're watching this video and you weren't in the picture, but I got to meet him as well, and he was just very nervous during the whole Q&A as we were there watching this film with them, and it was such a cool experience. I had never been to a screening before, so I had no idea what it was like. My mom just got these tickets and was like, hey, do you want to go? And I knew nothing about the film, never saw a trailer, just read the summary, and that was it. I didn't know anything else about this film. So, guys, we're going to talk about this film. I have a picture with me and the writer and the actors in this film, and I'll show that to you guys at the end or sometime during this video. But we're just going to talk about this film and just basically it'll be me explaining what this film is about and what I thought of the film in general. Let's get into it. So normally, guys, you know this, or you should know this about me by now. Comedies are not my favorite type of movie at all. In fact, I would rather watch a better romance film by myself, crying my eyes out, than watching a comedy. The only comedies I like are The Kings of Summer, which is my favorite comedy as of now. Popstar, Never Stop, Never Stopping. That's also one I will give an exception to of being really funny. But besides that, Growing Up Smith just really hit me hard in a spot that I didn't think it could, and that was that it was so emotional, so well written, and just the fact that it took 16 years to make this film. You can just see the dedication and how much time and effort people put into this movie, and you can see that with each and every scene that takes place in this film. And I think they had like a $2 million budget to do all this, and for a film to take 16 years to going through rewrites and just getting all the money that they needed to make the film, just going through all that and then seeing the final product, and watching it with the people that actually made and started the film was probably such a huge achievement for them. And for me as a writer, or an inspiring writer, that meant so much to me, and it was so cool to witness this and hear them talk about what they made and how passionate they were about it, and I thought that was really cool. But now to talk about the film a little bit, because I know I kind of get off topic a lot, but to talk about the film in general, you basically see Smith and his family and their transition from living in India to America. Now, they don't do any flashbacks of them living in India, but they just always talk about it, and that's like what they go back to, what they refer back to, and how that correlates with the way they're living in America. And I thought that was really cool, and you kind of see the Indian culture in this family living in an Americanized world, and they just don't understand at the time, which this film takes place in 1979, and they just don't, at least the parents don't understand, what goes on in America during 1979 because they're so used to their own cultures and traditions, and that's where a lot of the humor comes in, especially with the parents and the interactions between the parents and their children, because not only does Smith or is there Smith, but it's Smith and his older sister. I don't remember her name, but they live together and they're all in this house, and they live next door to these weird neighbors, and which enters Jason Lee's character. And by far, I don't want to say he's the funniest part of this movie, because everyone is just hilarious in this film. But I will say personally, I think I enjoyed his character the best. At least he was always the kind of drunk neighbor that said things that he shouldn't at the time. At the wrong time, and it always made for good humor, but he was kind of like a role model to Smith, and I thought that was really cool, because you have Smith's dad who's trying to teach him the way that he thinks the way that he was taught, and he tries to teach Smith the things that he thinks are the way that things work. And so that probably made no sense. But it just goes to show that, you know, you need other people in your life to teach you new things and teach you how things are now. And that's where Jason Lee's character comes in. And that's why I think he was such an important character and role model in Smith's life. And you kind of see him grow up as a kid. It doesn't really like take over a span of a certain amount of years. Because everything's just happening all at once, day to day, and that's pretty much this movie. But it just really shows Smith and his interaction with Jason Lee's daughter and how they kind of start talking and, you know, becoming friends. And it just helps Smith grow up, I think, as a person and really understand you know, America and the difference between living in America and India. And I thought that was really cool to see. And I think all the characters just did a great job of it. So Growing Up Smith, to me, can be compared to a film that came out on Netflix called The Fundamentals of Caring. I feel like both of those films had the same type of message that they were trying to give. And in the end, that brings out what Growing Up Smith really is, and I think it's a romantic coming of age comedy, and that is the best way to describe this movie. It had all those elements, the touchy feelings, the annoying characters that did stupid things and that they should have done something different, but they did the thing you didn't want them to do, and that it had all those elements. It had scenes where they were teaching Smith to do something. And they just did it in their own kind of way. So everybody was teaching Smith what they thought was right, even though Smith was trying to learn from himself that this is what you need to do. I need to do what I want to do and not what my parents or what my neighbors want me to say. And I think that was a really cool aspect to see towards the end of the film, and how you see him grow up pretty much, and that he realizes all of these things while telling you his story, and it is a voiceover story, but it's not to the point where it's annoying and too much. It's that it's there, it needs to be there, and it kind of helps carry along the story and this character that Smith plays as, and it was just really cool to see the transitions of him growing up from youth to an adult, and I thought that was very cool. Every person you meet will impact him in this movie, and every character is just really funny, and they don't, like, even when the parents try to be serious, you just can't help but laugh because of how innocent they are, and how, like, you know, they're trying to do right and teach their son, even though it might not be the right thing that you think, but to them it's the right thing to do, and, you know, that's how they teach their son to live and, you know, be his own man, even though he figures that out on his own. And I thought that was really cool of the film, and I know I think I'm probably getting a little bit repetitive here now, but I just loved everything that this film tried to be, and it was what I wanted it to be. Not knowing anything about this film and coming out just absolutely loving it. I will watch this 5 to 10 more times. I'm probably going to get it on Blu-ray, as you see my Blu-ray collection in the back, which I'll do a video of eventually, just because I have so many. But there was no complaints about this film, and not just because the writer and the producer and the actors were there. Like, you know, I have complaints. Every movie will have bad things in them, and you just got to deal with it. But for me, I just want to talk about the good things, and then I'll rate the film later on. I just want to explain to you guys that this is a very funny film that doesn't take itself too seriously, but gives a really strong message that I think everyone can relate to, especially with everything that's going on around in the world. And the producer made a very clear statement about that, saying how it's just the story related to him so much, and that he wanted to give more of his perspective in telling the story. And I think that's why he wanted to produce the film and not only write it, but to also act in it. And he did a great job of everything, and I just walked out wanting to rewatch it again, and just to, like, see the difference on what I thought from the first time, and some of the things that I did miss the first time, and just to see it a second time and really understand and know what I feel about this movie. So, in the end, you guys, I am now going to rate the film. I am very pleased to say this. I have only given one other film this rating, and that was 20th Century Women for 2017 so far, although sadly, 20th Century Women was 2016. So, I guess you could say for 2017, this is the first movie that I am going to give an excellency. And I'm very, very happy to be giving this film an excellency. I did not expect it to enjoy it as much as I did. So, thank you guys for watching. My name is Nick. This is The Tempest Productions, and I will see you guys in the next video.